I have a lot of really cool friends who do a lot of really cool things. I wanted to make it a goal to sit down with these friends and spend about 15 minutes or so getting to know them better and find out about their past, present, and their future. The result is this show. My name is Grant Baciocco, and this is 15 Minutes With. Shelley Carney is a filmmaker, a writer, an actor, and she is today's guest on 15 Minutes With. Shelley, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Well, it's great to have you here. You do a lot of creative things, and we'll get to those. But I want to know, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tempe, Arizona.
And when you were growing up, what's the kind of the first creative thing that you found yourself involved in?
Well, I like to dance and I like to write.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked to write.
What kind of things did you write, like as a kid? Just stories?
Oh, yes, stories. And come up with stories. Usually poems and, kid stuff.
Uh-huh. And were your parents creative at all?
Actually, my mom would tell you that she's not at all creative, but she's very creative. She's inspiring in that, whenever something needed to be done for school, say my brother needed a poem about Paul Bunyan one time, and she just made up a poem. She sewed like crazy. She could make anything out of sewing and just all kinds of crafts and just amazing creativity there.
And in school, did you pursue these writing and stuff when was that things you were interested? Did you work on the newspaper or?
Actually, no, I didn't really get into the creative arts until just recently.
Mm-hmm.
I started because my daughter was in theater and she had a real interest in it, and we were living in New Mexico and we have a large film industry there, so I thought I would check it out, see if it's something viable for her to do when she got out of high school, and then I just loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So. And
what was the first thing that you went to that got you in, was there a group?
Well, I went to the program at CNM, the Central New Mexico Community College. They have a film tech program, and because they constantly want to shoot things, let's practice our craft, we also had to come up with concepts for shows to do and programs to create. So I created a program which turned out to be an 8-episode web series that took us through 2 semesters of work putting it together.
And what was the premise behind that series?
Well, it's about teenage boys who play video games and their moms who would get together with them, and then they would put on a tournament, and we sort of followed the producers of that, so we were back a layer, so it was more like a mockumentary.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched the producers go into these homes and speak to the children and the parents, and just there was a lot of interaction, and it was a lot of reality type stuff.
And this was an idea you came up by yourself?
Well, I have a teenage son at the time, and I came home, and he's always playing video games, and I didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
I could see they were very advanced, and I was not going to be able to figure these things out. They look like he's watching a movie that he's a part of, which, is amazing to me, but I was never going to be a part of that world, and so I thought about that and how that affected so many people.
And is this still online? Can people go check it out?
Yes, it's called Joysticks,
mm-hmm.
and it's online. If you look at my name or Joysticks, you should be able to find it.
Okay. What do you think the biggest lesson you learned working on that is?
Well, there's a couple of things I learned. I learned that it's really difficult to put together something with no money because you have to work around everybody else's schedule who are volunteering. But the other thing I learned was don't let people take things away from you, because at one point in time I had about 6 of the episodes done. We had a couple more to go, and part of the club started to complain that they wanted to make a movie and they wanted the resources, and I was like, oh well, I guess I have to share. I ended up sharing my star, and we had a whole issue of, does he have a beard for this, does he have a beard for that? He had to grow it, he had to shave it, we had to wait for him to grow it back. It was really crazy. So I'd say, don't let people take things away from you, just hold on to them.
So that was your sort of entry into the New Mexico film industry, and I was very excited to talk to you about this because I'm out here in Los Angeles, and like basically everybody's doing something. What, from what you know of the film industry out here, what's different about the film industry in New Mexico?
What's different about the film industry in New Mexico, I would say there's layers. We have the layers of the really top people. Most of them come from LA. They come into town. They create shows like Breaking Bad, as you've seen, and which later spawned Better Call Saul. We have 4 or 5 other programs being filmed right now, like Preacher, and there's several other TV shows being filmed. Night Shift. And we have those LA productions come in, and then our local people, we have our ancillary services, the hotels, the rental cars, the rental equipment, all of that. We make money off of that. And then we also have all of our extras that get work out of it. And then we have our crews that get work out of it. But then LA usually will take their stuff, their post-production stuff, and bring it back to LA. Although we have a really qualified group of post-production people out there. So we're still kind of working for LA. Then we have a really large independent film industry out there. But again, there's no money. I'm saying New Mexico's kind of a poor state, and we all just kind of barter and we work for each other. But I think the one thing that you might notice is we are more likely to help each other out. And if you go to an audition and you're going to see the same people all the time, and you're going to be friends with them, and you're going to help them and they help you, and it's not like a cutthroat industry out there. So.
Is there a lot of auditions going on in New Mexico for different projects?
There are, yeah. Depends. There's different levels. Again, and we don't have a huge group of SAG people, so most of them are independent. And we just lost another talent agent, so we're down to 2 now that are SAG qualified. So, we do what we can.
Yeah. Well, after you worked on Joysticks, what was your next project that you worked on?
After that, I went to the public television, UPublic, and I worked with Toby Eunice, who is still my partner now, and we created a talk show about the film industry called New Mexico Media Makers, and we did about 13 episodes of that, and then there was no money in it, so we call it a learning experience. We had a lot of fun, and then we moved on.
Yeah, what did you learn out of that one? You said it's a learning experience.
It was a learning experience because I was the producer of it, so I learned about how you bring people together, call up people you don't know, and they say, oh, this guy is pretty cool, let's get him on our show. Okay, how do I do that? And I had to figure it out. And then I wrote the intros and the outros and some of the questions. And I also got to decide who the hosts would be. And we had some really quality people on that.
Yeah. Now, you also are involved in a lot of the, I've heard you mention film festivals out there, right?
Sure. We actually just went to a film festival this weekend in Taos, the Taos Shorts Film Fest. Toby Eunice and I had a documentary in that called Shredder and Sativa, A Love Story. It was about a gay couple and the effect that the Supreme Court decision had on their marriage, because they were married before the decision. So they talked about how before the decision they were legal in Bernalillo County, but if they wanted to move, they might be invalidated in their marriage, or if they if they were traveling and one of them ended up getting injured or sick and going to the hospital, the other one might not be allowed to be there at the hospital with their husband. So there were a lot of things that we learned from it, and it was a very special project for us.
Yeah. Was that an idea you had come up with, or you and your partner?
Well, we did the International Documentary Challenge, or the Fusion Doc Challenge, in October. And they give you a theme, which was moving forward, and they give you a genre, which we ended up with LGBTQ, and that's the way we went with it. And then we decided on the hook. And
you also have done haven't you done a 24-hour film festival as well?
I was the associate producer for the 48-hour film project in Albuquerque, working with Liz Langston, who is the one of the co-creators of the whole thing, and it's an international competition. They're all around the world, so that was a wonderful experience.
Did you enter a film, or were you just working for the festival?
No, I was one of the producers of the festival, so I was responsible for bringing the filmmakers together and getting them prizes, getting sponsorship, all of that.
And in a lot of your different projects, you are interviewing people?
I do interview people. Yeah.
And so what is that like? As someone who, before you recently got into this, you weren't necessarily in front of the camera. What's it like setting up an interview?
Well, I learned a lot from Toby. I'll have to tell you that, because he's been in journalism and documentary making all his life, and he taught me the types of questions to ask. The who, what, when, where. Never ask why, because that's accusatory. So I learned that. Open-ended questions and drawing people out. And I learned to, just be able to listen for those little nuggets to pull out and then expand on them, just like you do.
Do you, so switching over to your writing now, are you currently writing something? Are you currently working on a project?
Well, yes, Toby and I wrote a short script together called Scratching Cat, and it was loosely based on his experiences in Baghdad in 2005. Then we entered that into the New Mexico Women in Film competition, and we were one of the 3 finalists. So we're really happy with that. And then they're doing the same competition again this year for the Athena Award, and I've entered another short. I like to write short films. This one's only like 8 pages, and I think they're just really fun because they get right to the point, and they're just like little aha moments for you.
I would love to ask, what is it like for you working with a partner? Because sometimes, like, I've worked with different partners at times, and other times I've tried to work with somebody and it just doesn't work. But what do you look for in a good partnership?
Well, let's see. We have so much in common. We think so much alike, and he has a lifetime of experience. He's been all over the world and has all these stories to tell. So I help him mold those stories into something, organized. And sometimes I come up with ideas and he helps me get a male perspective on it. So what we say is one of us puts up the tree and the other one decorates it.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it works really well.
Yeah. When you are writing things, I'm talking just more about tools here, not necessarily, but a little bit about process, but do you write every day? Do you have a notebook that you write in, or do you write on a laptop? How do you write?
Honestly, I get an idea from something, and then I have to write it. I don't write every day. Yeah. I'm not a disciplined person like that, but there are those times when an idea comes into my head and I have got to write it, and then I write it out. And it's that first draft is really hard. I'm sure you know this. The first draft, getting it all down, writing it out, getting it out of your head is so important to get it down. And then, of course, as my screenwriting teacher says, the first draft is always crap. So you have to go back and polish it and work on it and think about it. The one I have put into this competition, I started writing in October, and every time I'd go back to it, I'd adjust it and fix it and add to it and move things around. And you're never happy with it, are you?
No.
You could work on it forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
And do you write longhand? Do you write on computer? I mean, you're doing scripts, so it's.
Well, let's see. I wrote this one, and we call it Goddess. I wrote that one right out on Caltech, which is.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, we share the Caltech program, he and I. So, but then I wrote one recently we call Subscribe, and it's about a young. Well, she's about teenager, high school age, and she witnesses a shooting, and she has her own YouTube channel, and she's actually there shooting with her camera when it occurs. So she captures it, and then there's this whole issue of, is she going to be a journalist and explore the topic and really do justice to the victims, or is she just going to become famous with her YouTube channel because she caught this on camera? So that's kind of what that's about. Now that one we wrote out as an outline, and then we passed it back and forth, and then I wrote it out on Caltech, and I'm still not happy with it. I'm like, no, we got to fix it still. It needs work. So, yeah, that's how we do it.
And I wanted to talk to you also about marketing, because you're somebody who I think sort of studies that and finds out ways to get your things out. What do you think is important if somebody has no money to get their creative project out there? What's some advice you could give?
Build your audience through social media, like you have. Get your following on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever your audience might be. If your audience that you're aiming for, your demographic is young people, you're going to want to focus more on maybe Tumblr and Instagram, or something that that they're following. If it's business people, you're going to make sure you're on LinkedIn. And if it's family people and just everybody, then you're going to be on Facebook. Facebook is really just going to town on their marketing right now, and improving all of their video marketing and what they're offering for people who want to get their product out there. I'm listening to a podcast every week called Perpetual Traffic, and it's put out by digitalmarketer.com, and it's amazing how much great information they give. So that's kind of my method of studying it right now, and putting it to use in our company Video Tarot, which Toby and I are growing. And we have a brand new product that we're just now launching called Destination Promos, where I go on the Rail Runner Express, which is our local train, and I go to a destination, and like a restaurant. We used Pranzo Italian Grill in Santa Fe for the first one, and I talk about the restaurant, and I meet with the chef, and we have a little meal, and then we go back on the train, and it's a very organic feel to it, so it's perfect for Facebook. Yeah.
Who are some people right now that are like inspiring you that maybe folks don't know about? Like maybe aren't as widely known as or who's somebody who is widely known who's inspiring you right now?
Honestly, Grant, the people who inspire me the most are the people I personally know. I have to say that Toby inspires me in the marketing and filmmaking and documentary making. And you actually inspired me quite a lot to even take a chance on getting into this business. After I met you and saw what you were doing, and I thought, I want to try that too. So, and then of course,
I apologize, because that's where the no money comes in.
Yeah, well, that's true, but that's why we're going towards marketing, and Toby has a way of making money, so we're doing okay.
Excellent. Well, if people want to find you online, find out more about your projects, where can they track you down?
VideoTarotLLC.com is our business page.
Could you spell that out for us?
VideoTero, which is a sort of a made-up Spanish word that means video maker.
Okay.
And then LLC.com.
Okay.
And then we're also on Facebook at Video Tarot. You can find me at ShelleyCarney.com or on Facebook. And I'm also on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, so Shelley Carney Productions. And I'm all over YouTube. If you just type my name into Google, I'll come up.
Excellent. Well, Shelley, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. I appreciate it.
It was fun. Thanks.
Shelley Carney is a filmmaker, producer, actor, and writer, and it was a ton of fun talking to her on the show today. Find out more about Shelley's projects over at ShelleyCarney.com. That's ShelleyCarney.com. 15 Minutes With on the GrantCast is a production of Saturday Morning Media and is made possible in part by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to www.patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Huge thanks to Shay Stewart, Merle Lafferty, Jeff Peterson, Dale Gadania, Stephen Staver, Jackie Klimo, Melissa Crawford, Chuck, Matthew Wayne Selznick, Dave Slusher of the Evil Genius Chronicles, Mike Coughlin, Dorothy Baciocco, John D., Kathy Crawford, Brian Greer, Carrie Whitney, Chuck Tomasi, Chris Foster, Stephen Ing, Clinton of ComedyForecast.com, Vicky DeVries, Mike Wobschall, and Twitter user ButtsInGear, aka Wildcat. If you'd like to support this show and the other fun content from Saturday Morning Media, become a patron. Head on over to www.patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media. That's www.patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your donation today. Or you can tell a friend about the show or leave the show a review on iTunes. If you have feedback for the show, you can send it directly to me at grant@throwingtoasters.com or get in touch via Twitter, where my username is ToasterBoy. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back in just 1 week with a brand new episode. The GrantCast is copyright 2016 Saturday Morning Media, Grant Baciocco, executive producer. All rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com.